do you profess your belief? I said, do you profess your belief tonight, brothers and sisters? Then there is only one thing left for us to do. Let's go the Earth. You may know it as that blue thing Bruce Willis is always trying to save. Or from its famous collaboration with wind and fire. Or just simply as that place where George Clooney lives, America. The greatest country on Earth. You hear that, Denmark? You go fuck yourself! Yeah, I don't care what the World Happiness Index says. Michelle Obama told me that we're #1 and her arms make me feel safe. The United Kingdom. Birthplace of the Beatles, and yet very much the world's Ringo. The United Kingdom, a place whose very name after this week's events is beginning to sound a bit sarcastic. France, the Frenchest thing imaginable, a croissant sitting in a cafe eating a baguette, or maybe a mime feeding invisible cheese to his invisible mistress with a visible erection. Belgium, though Belgium does have one thing in common with Budweiser. Historically speaking, Germans refuse to acknowledge that it's even there. Look, Estonia, a country where, from the looks of it, they still worry about Shrek attacks. Finland. Finland is on all the good lists, like countries with the best pastries, or best countries to host your overseas lesbian wedding. Sweden. Who hasn't spent 20 minutes in IKEA and immediately wanted to launch an attack on Sweden? Someone has to pay for what I'm going through here. China in microcosm right there. A gigantic machine looming over its subjects, forcing them to be more coordinated than anyone thought was physically possible. Hong Kong. The former British colony, now back under Chinese rule. Hong Kong is in an odd situation. It's a limited democracy inside a communist country. A setup that their own constitution describes as one country, two systems. It's like the 2 girls, 1 cup of governance, with one girl having a lot more control over what happens to that cup. Djibouti is a country with a rich cultural history and a multi-ethnic population of over 850,000 people, but you are right, it does also sound like a butt. Souls to the Poles, which is not to be confused with my charity foundation, Souls to the Poles, which sends shoes to Polish people, despite the fact they haven't asked for them, don't need them, and have repeatedly asked me to stop. Turkey, aka Diet Syria. Turkey is a nation in crisis. Turk is a dating service that helps you fuck long-haul truckers. Chechnya. The place that, when it shows up in text at the beginning of an action movie scene, promises you some shit is about to go down. In North Korea. Alphabetically speaking, the world's foremost Korea. New Zealand. If you want an image that sums up everything great about New Zealand, this is the flag right here. What Olympic team would not be proud to march beneath that? We have 2 million people incarcerated. If we keep going in this direction, we'll soon have enough to populate an entire new country with prisoners. And trust me when I say, that is not a good idea. Literally, the only good thing to come out of that experiment was Hugh Jackman, and that took 180 years. It was worth it, but it was a long time. But it was worth it. It was worth it. But that's 2 centuries, but it was worth it. But we all know the 3 most famous stereotypes of Italian culture are that they have close family relationships, they turn international negotiations into shouting matches, and they enjoy cooking pasta for dogs. You know, Italians. Ukraine, that's a Libyan pool party waiting to happen. Argentina, Argentine tradition, every bit as grand as the tango and hiding Nazis. But both of which they are flamboyantly good at. Pakistan, well, probably drone strikes. Iran, let's say crippling sanctions. Crimea. Have you seen the Crimean people? It's basically this guy. This is what you won, Russia. This man and the entire history that his face represents. And I just want to be clear that this guy is having a really good day. That is what smiling looks like in Crimea. And why shouldn't he be smiling? After all, it's his 16th birthday. Brunei. Wait, let me back up for a second. There is a country called Brunei. It's located here in Southeast Asia. Specifically, it's located here on the island of Borneo. Anyway, Brunei falls under the Saudi Arabia rule. If you're a tiny, wealthy, strategically located country with oily business underneath you, the whole world is your friend. In a nutshell, Gaza, horrific. And Syria, to be honest, it's barely been reported on, but let's assume it's still fucking awful. Germany, where the national motto is, let's stick to the present, shall we? Give me another one. Luxembourg, what happens when you leave Liechtenstein out in the sun too long? Bam! Okay, give me another one. Belgium, the casual acquaintance France crops out of its Instagram photos. Okay, one more, I'm on a roll, one more. Denmark, what would happen if a suicide note was a country? I don't even know. I'm doing these and I could do them all day. That's our show. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week. Good night.